How's it going, everyone? Welcome. How do I suddenly felt so exposed? How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. If it looks exceptionally dark in here, it's because my overhead light burnt out and they didn't have the right light bulbs at the store. So it gets to be dark. That's just the way it is. But anyway, in this week's video, I'm going to be customizing a 17-inch Monster High doll, which is the largest custom that I have completed to date. And I think she came out real cute, so let's hop into it. Our candidate for this makeover is this 17-inch Draculaura doll that I actually customized once before, and I hated how she came out, so we're gonna do it again. To get started, even though her face is already pretty naked, I do need to clean it off once more with a bit of acetone to just get rid of all the leftover gunk from sitting in a drawer for the past, I don't know, 2 years, as well as get some of the leftover paint that I did not get the first time I cleared her face because I guess I was lazier back then. So once she's all cleaned up, I'm able to get started on her face up. So for this look, I decided to draw some inspiration from the original face that I gave her, but with a few differences. Namely, her makeup's a bit different, her eyes are a bit smaller, I gave her a different eye color, but a lot of the other things are very similar. I was going to put up a picture of her original face for reference, but I have this fear that if I do that, people are going to be like, oh, I liked her old face more, it was so cute, and that would really bum me out. So if you're on my Instagram, you've seen what she used to look like, and if you thought that was better, well, that's up to you. I decided to give her blue eyes mostly because I was in the mood to give a doll blue eyes. It's been a minute. And another thing that I took from her original look is this blood tears moment that she's having, because I think that's one of my favorite little vampire biology things, is when people depict them as having blood for all of their internal fluids, I just think crying blood's really cool, and I think that every single piece of vampire media should include vampires that cry blood, because it looks really sick, and that's all. I really enjoy crying as an expression in general. I just want to make more crying dolls. Does that say anything about where I'm at in my life and mentally? Maybe, but we're not going to read into that today. I just think that crying looks really cool. I also think bleeding is really cool. Aesthetically. This makes me want to make a doll that's battle worn with some face wounds, some cuts, anything that really that's what it is. I think it really tells a story. When a doll has a kind of neutral thing going on with their face, yeah, you could do a lot more, I think, with how you pose them and how you choose to photograph them or whatnot. It goes with everything. But when you have more extreme expressions and things like that, something had to have happened here, and that's very evocative for me. I really enjoy it. Also, a quick thing about this blushing process, I struggled with it. I think either it's because it's a bigger head and I'm not used to that, or maybe it's because it's a different material than the standard size Monster High head is typically made out of. But either way, it was kind of difficult, but we persevered, we pulled through. I've also started doing this thing where I use a wet paper towel to rub off some the blotchy excess pastel and leave some behind still stained, and then I go back over it, and I found that gives me a smoother look when you're doing this method. Because all the girlies know, maybe not all the girlies, anyone that's been watching me for a while knows that I do not use Mr. Super Clear, largely out of being poor and not liking to take the extra time and the extra steps, and I found this method works for me, and so I continue doing it. But I'm sure if you use Mr. Super Clear, you'd have a much easier base to work on, and you wouldn't be at the mercy of whatever material that you're working with. But country girls make do. We love to say it. I'm going to take a moment while I'm blushing her face to say that if you watched this far and you like this video, consider liking it. It really helps me out a lot. And if you like me or like this sort of content, consider subscribing. I have a lot more things coming and you don't want to miss it. Also, if you are interested in purchasing this doll or any of the other things that I've made, you can check out the link to my store in the description. Also, I want to address something that I said in my last video before anybody notices and calls me out as a liar. I did say in my last video that my next doll project was going to be sculpted, and to be fair, that was the plan. I do have a doll sculpture that I am working on, but it was taking too long to dry and I needed a video out before then because I have a lot of things I'm trying to cram into this season. So you will see a sculpted doll here very soon, but just not today, okay? So I'm sorry. Cue the fake apology video that's 15 minutes long and I'm crying in the thumbnail. Do you ever see like dramatic announcement videos from YouTubers that you don't even watch and like you click on them anyway whenever they have like a vague title where you're like, the rumors or whatever, like it's time to speak up? I'm like, oh shit, girl, what happened? Like, I don't care. And then I don't even watch the video. I just like go to the comments to like get the gist of what happened and feel better for knowing the woes of somebody that I literally don't care about. One more quick thing about this face. I decided to give her these little like red freckles because I couldn't get around how blotchy her blushing was, so I decided to like lean into it and make it intentional. I don't know anyone that's ever had red freckles, but I think it looks cute on her. Once that's all finished and the paint is all dry, I seal in her face with several very watered down layers of liquid sealant. In this case, I'm using matte Mod Podge. Alrighty, so now we can get to work on her hair, and I decided to show a bit more of this process than I usually do. So here I'm just preparing this maroon yarn by wrapping it around my hand to get like a vague loop so everything is kind of the same length. It doesn't need to be exact. And I'm just sliding that off my hand and cutting it so I get these little strips. I found that this chunky yarn is a lot easier to prepare for doll hair than like the really thin stuff, and I'm just sort of unweaving it a bit so I get these strands before brushing it out with this pet brush that, for the record, is not the correct one to use, but I've been making it work for this long and I refuse to buy a new one. Now it's time for the glue. So I'm applying this using the end of a wooden dowel because I find it easier to get more precise application with something thinner than, I don't know, my fingers, I guess. And I'm just applying chunks of yarn at a time and then adding more glue on top to make sure that everything is sealed down securely. This is probably one of the longer steps of the doll making process for me because I have to wait for each row of hair to completely dry before applying the next one. Otherwise, like, the hair will stick to the glue of the row underneath and get really gross, and it's really annoying. Now you can speed up this process with a hairdryer, but you will lose the natural texture of the yarn that way, and I want to hold on to a little bit of that wave. For where the hair parts, you want to apply the hair in the opposite direction that you want it to lay, and make sure that the glue is completely 100% dry before flipping it over the right direction. Now you can watch me just sort of lovingly smooth out her hair for a little while. This also makes it easier for when you're applying the other side if it isn't all poofy and in the way. Once her hair is all applied, you can get to styling. So for this, I'm using an eyebrow razor and I'm giving her these like layers, I guess. I don't know. I was going for like a 90s goth sort of vibes. American Horror Story Hotel, like the way what's her face, Sarah Paulson's hair is in that season. This isn't exactly like that, but it's a little bit inspired by that shape, you know? I ended up with something kind of like this, though I did tweak it a bit more off camera and also in this footage because I kept finding these like loose strands that were just a bit too long. But anyway, it's outfit time. So I'm getting started with these fishnet leggings that came with the Dracula doll when I first bought her. I just thought they were too perfect to pass up using, though I kind of hate that they're capris, but we make it work. For this outfit, I kind of built it as I went using a mixture of things that I already had in my stock box. So this is actually a dress from, Chanel, I think, from the Shadow High collection. I decided to turn her dress into a skirt because I thought it was really cute and happened to fit her in a way that works. I do tweak it a little bit later, but we'll get to that when we get to it. First, I'm showing off these Alyssa Bat boots that I purchased back when I first got this doll, and they're already perfect. I truly don't do anything to them. Next, I'm modifying this little, latexy pleather vest that I got from a Wild Hearts Crew doll. It's a little corny with the rocker on the back, but we can be a little corny sometimes, okay? And I'm going to turn it into a shirt by fastening it here in the middle with just a couple of stitches off camera. I decided to tie in this skirt with the rest of the color scheme by adding some blood splatter to the white portion of it, just to sort of bring it all together and also to tie in to the vampire theme. I felt like one skirt wasn't enough because it's just like a little bit too frilly for how edgy the top was. So I decided to add another skirt by taking this Dracula skirt that came with the original doll and painting it black to make it go with everything. I just put it right on top so the original skirt acts a little bit like a petticoat. I decided to use this little operetta tie accessory as a little belt. That, along with a few strips of this red elastic, kind of brought some of the red throughout more of her outfit. So for her final accessory, I'm just prepping this LOL OMG guitar because I thought it would go with her whole thing. She has the rocker vest. She's crying. So I felt like it would be fun to make her like a little sad musician. Like she's writing a song about her recent breakup with like her vampire rocker boyfriend. Or maybe he's like a little loser. Here's the thing, girls will always be crying over losers. It's just like wired in our DNA. I don't know why we're like that, but we are. So who knows, maybe her boyfriend was lame, but she was crying about him anyway. But that's her story. She's like an emo little musician, and I thought that'd be cute. Though I will say there is something very funny about like soulfully and sadly playing like a double-necked guitar. I feel like I don't know, I feel like it doesn't quite make sense, but it doesn't matter. It looks cute. I don't know if you guys can tell that I put a little bit of red glitter in with the red paint because I wanted like a little subtle effect, and I hope it comes through. I think it looks cute. I just didn't want it to be too glittery. Otherwise, I felt like it'd be kind of distracting. I think it's always fun when a doll ends up going in a direction that I wasn't really anticipating. Like, all I knew is that I want to make a crying vampire girl. And this sort of story came out afterwards as I was piecing her outfit together. And I don't know, I'm really surprised at how well all the disparate pieces that I found in my stock box came together. And I'm really happy with her. I don't know, I think it's like a fun little concept. And it's cute to do something that's just kind of goofy. I don't know, I think it's also kind of goofy. The fact that even her guitar has a little broken heart on it, like, big brain. It's too perfect. It's I don't know. Anyway, with that, the guitar is finished and she's complete. Here are the final results. She's a little cutie, y'all, and if you want to purchase her, the link to my store is in the description. She will be available upon my uploading of this video. Alrighty, that's it. See y'all next time. Love you, bye! Let's hop into it.